Guys, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year. This one's for you. Many of you have wondered for what I imagine to be quite a long time, some of you from the very start, why, Josh, Darkness, why haven't you talked about Sonic 3 and Knuckles yet? 'Cause you think, it being one of my favorite games of all time, that I might have just, mentioned it at some point, and actually, if you look back, I've brought it up a lot. I compare it to a lot of things. It, for the longest time, was my favorite game of all time until Out of the Way came along and fixed that right up. But this is a very important game to me, and actually that's probably one of the main reasons why I haven't touched it yet. I used to say that I didn't feel skillful enough as a reviewer to cover this game, but it's not even that. I'm just really terrible at talking about games that I like. I know, I don't get it either. Like, whenever you present me with a bad game, I can sit there for hours and nitpick the crap out of it and find every single gaping flaw, explain to you why it's such an incredible piece of crap and why you should never pick it up or play it. But if you ask me to tell you what's good about a game, well, I think in my mind what it is, I just kind of assume that I don't have to explain why a game is good. Like, if a game is good, it's good. You know, you shouldn't have to tell someone that, I guess, at least to me. But maybe I'm wrong. And actually, I'm also wondering why people want me to review this game at all. Like I get you guys watching me review games and stuff. But if anything, most of you have probably already played this game. And is there a Sonic fan who hasn't played this game? Is someone out there hasn't played this game? What is wrong with you? Why? Really? Wow. You are a rare case when it comes to Sonic fans. Granted, if you're not a Sonic fan, there's a pretty substantial chance you haven't touched this, but if you're a fan of the series, seriously, you gotta give this game a try at the very least. If not, play it all the way through, because it is by far the best Sonic game ever made. Period. I mean, I know that's a matter of opinion. Some people will tell you that Sonic 2 is better, and some really, really crazy people will tell you that Sonic CD is better. But I honestly feel like Sonic 3 and Knuckles was the 2D game that really nailed down what Sonic is. I guess I'll go into it and I'll just try to nail down everything that's good about the game. It's hard for me to do, but I'll try. For one, the graphics are really good. Probably some of the best you'll ever see on the Genesis. In fact, the only game I could think of off the top of my head that had blatantly better graphics than this was probably Vector Man, and that was, a completely different case. This game looks beautiful. All the levels look unique and distinctive, and getting into the levels, these are some of the most complex, interesting, multi-path levels you will ever find in a Sonic game. For once, it's not, so linear. They started doing this a little bit in Sonic 2 with multiple paths, but Sonic 3 and Knuckles really, really nailed this concept down. There's multiple ways to beat a level, different levels to travel on. That's really interesting, and it really helps enhance the replay value of the game. And the best part about it is the levels are so well designed that you never feel lost or confused, or almost never, because the complexity of the levels doesn't affect the flow of speed of the game. It doesn't change what makes a Sonic game a Sonic game. You still have fast, active, interesting platforming going on while different paths are being taken. It's a matter of choice of how you progress through the level, and there's even an exploration element for those of you who appreciate that. It's bringing in the best of all these different worlds and putting it into one solid experience, and it's fantastic. The soundtrack, which a lot of people like to say that Michael Jackson made the music of this game, and that's debatable. And I'm pretty sure it's true on the basis that in later ports of the game, Sega changed some of the music for no reason. And if you compare some of the tracks in this game to some of Michael Jackson's actual songs, there's a lot of similarities, so I'm willing to bet they probably used some of his music. But that's not the point. The point is the music's freaking amazing. This is some of the best music you'll ever find in a Sonic game, at least in terms of non-lyrical tracks. In addition, the narrative is really, really good in this game, and I know that's probably going to sound confusing to a lot of you. Wait, Darkness, what do you mean the narrative? There's a narrative in Sonic 3? Well, yeah. Without saying a single solitary word of exposition, Sonic 3 and Knuckles tells one of the most interesting, well-thought-out plots of any Sonic game in history. That is saying a lot. You have the introduction of one of the more interesting characters in the series, Knuckles, and you have a direct plot sequel to Sonic 2, which actually even goes out of its way to explain why Sonic lost the Emeralds in the first place, which is something that no other game has made it a point to do. Any other game that had the Emeralds involved, you just have to gather the Emeralds. You just have to do it. You had them before, well now you don't. We're not going to tell you why, you just don't. Here, there's a reason. Knuckles takes them from you. Straight up, that's the first thing that happens in the game. So, right off the bat, this game already has a better exposition than any other Sonic game ever. I'd sit here and talk about the controls, but the controls are really good and solid. And did you like the controls in Sonic 2? Because they're basically the same. And you still have a spin dash. I mean, if you had broke, don't fix it. I don't know why you would change it. The only big difference here is that you can play as different characters, which I know you can play as Tails in Sonic 2, but there's actually a reason to do that this time, since Tails can, fly, that sort of changes things, and Knuckles can glide and climb walls, which is really interesting, and his levels are actually unique to him. His entire story is unique to him. The bosses are even switched up just for Knuckles. That's saying a lot, and again, adds to the replay value and longevity of this whole experience. Did I mention there's a save feature? Cause that's new. Thank you. Jesus, it took you long enough for that, because let's be honest, Sonic 2 was a pretty long game for having no save feature, and in that game, once you lost all your lives and all your continues, it was back to the start. I mean, yes, I know there's a level select code, but it's not like you had that back then unless you looked it up in a cheat book or something. I didn't have it, and it was annoying. Now there's a save feature, so if you lose in a level, well, you can go right back and start that level all over again. It helped people, actually be able to complete the game fairly, with something unique into the game. I mean, it's nice to have your game saved, and considering how much content there is to the game, completing it 100% in one sitting is, well, asking a lot, truth be told. I mean, not only do you have to collect all the Chaos Emeralds in this game, and beat the game as all three characters, but then you can also turn all the Chaos Emeralds into Super Emeralds by completing all the special stages that were attached to the Sonic and Knuckles cart, which is a whole nother pain in the butt, and then you can become Hyper Sonic, or Super Tails, or Hyper Knuckles. All these super forms, going crazy, just crazy. Hyper Sonic flashes all sorts of colors, and by the way, people wonder why they don't bring Hypersonic back. You never see him ever again after this game, and I think I know why. I'm fairly certain that if they tried to put Hypersonic into a modern game, he would actually give people seizures. However, I would like to see more of Super Tails because he has Birds of Death, and that's awesome. Oh, boss fights! Before I forget, the boss fights are fucking awesome. Do you remember that one of my big complaints with Sonic 2 was that the bosses could all be defeated in basically the same way? Bounce up and down on top of them. You have won. End of boss fight. That is completely different in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Not only are the bosses unique, but each one has to be tackled in a little bit of a different way. And yes, there are a few that can be, dealt with the standard jump on top of them way, but some require a bit of a different strategy, or, God help you, patience. The level of variety is something that really would never be seen again in a Sonic game, and I legitimately mean that. I'm not sure any bosses after this game topped it. In fact, not many things about any Sonic game after this could top Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and to be honest, I think Sonic 3 and Knuckles is the main reason why I can't enjoy a lot of 2D platformers anymore. A lot of people wonder that about me. I've mentioned this before, but I'm not a big fan of side-scrollers. And a lot of people are like, wait, Darkness, that doesn't make any sense. Why, you like Sonic? That's a 2D side-scroller, and I'm like, yes, and I think the reason is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. There isn't a single side-scroller that's come anywhere close to being as good as this damn game to me. And because of that, my brain just automatically compares every side-scroller I play to it, which I know isn't fair at all, but it's basically ruined the genre for me. That's not a negative to the game, it's really good, that's why. It's just, I think the reason I can't enjoy other side-scrollers is because I like this game so much. But you don't want to hear me talk about the good parts of the game because, as I always say, no game is perfect. What are the negatives of Sonic 3 and Knuckles? Come on, Darkness, you can do it. Find negatives in what used to be your favorite game of all time. You did it for Alan Wake. You can do it for this. And okay, there's a couple things, couple issues with the game that I don't like. One, the special stages later on the Sonic and Knuckles cart, are fucking retarded. I love the special stages in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. They're great, but the later ones in Sonic and Knuckles get a little goddamn ridiculous, and I don't like that. Like they're great for a challenge, but some of them are just fucking impossible. I mean, not impossible. I mean, they can do, but the level of trial and error with some of these is a little ridiculous, especially when you consider that to get into a special stage in this game, you have to run around and find a ring, a giant world ring. And you know, there's only a few of those in each level. I mean, you don't really get that many chances, and you keep having to go back and replay levels. And in fact, I got all the Super Emeralds my first time playing Sonic 3 and Knuckles by just playing Mushroom Hill over and over and over again because I knew exactly where at least 3 world rings were in the level. Another complaint I have, and this is a big one, is this room. This room. Oh God, this room. Every Sonic fan out there who's played this game just released a collective "ah" in response to seeing this fucking thing. I don't know a single person who wasn't stuck on this stupid room for a ridiculously long amount of time. You wanna know how long it took me to get past this fucking room in this game? Years! I was literally stuck on this one part for years because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what the game wanted from me. You know, I thought you just had to jump up and down in a really specific way and you finally got through. And believe it or not, the first time I ever got past this room, I actually got through it through a glitch. I accidentally phased through the wall, which isn't supposed to happen. And that's how I beat the level. You want to know how you beat this room fairly? Because you'll never get it if you don't already know. Because I certainly didn't get it until years later and I actually read about it. And then I wanted to snap the fucking game in half for pissing me off all this time. You press up and down. That's it. Up and down. There's not a hint that you can do that. No, nothing about the game would imply that that's even a thing. But that's what you do. I'm still angry about it to this day, guys. But other than that, the game is fucking amazing, and if you haven't played it, and you're a Sonic fan, or even just a side-scroller fan, I implore you, play this game! Some may be put off by the fact that this game is, well, 2 games, and for one, no it's not, because actually Sonic 3 was originally supposed to be just this. It was supposed to be, you know, this and all these levels that exist in Sonic and Knuckles. They ended up dividing it into 2 different carts for a variety of reasons. One, I think, had to do with memory. Since the levels were so large and complex, putting that all into one cart was asking a lot, I think. In addition, they wanted to take advantage of this lock-on technology, which is actually pretty interesting. And it was basically supposed to be old-school DLC. With the lock-on with Sonic and Knuckles, not only could you attach it to Sonic 3 and, you know, get the complete experience, but you could also attach it to Sonic 2 and then play as Knuckles in Sonic 2, which was interesting enough, and actually Knuckles completely breaks that entire game because he can glide over, like, everything. So that was a little silly, but, he does make, you know, fighting the final boss in that game a lot harder because he can't jump as high as Sonic, but yeah, anyway. The point is, this game is great, and if you haven't played it, again, you probably should. It really is, you know, one of those games, but honestly, I don't get much enjoyment out of playing this game anymore. And I know that might sound strange to all of you. I mean, this is one of my favorite games ever. You know, it was my favorite game ever for years and years. It's a huge part of my childhood. Why don't I enjoy it anymore? And honestly, guys, I think I'm just getting old. I don't know what it is. I don't know, maybe just being a dad all of a sudden has skewed my position on a lot of things I used to enjoy. I mean, I don't dislike playing the game, and, you know, it's great. But when I play it now, all I can think about is how I'm just not a kid anymore. And unlike Alan Wake, which, you know, is an important game to me on a more personal level, Sonic 3 and Knuckles was the game that made me happy when I was young. And it's the kind of game that I'd like to be able to hand down to my son, so he could get the same enjoyment out of it that it gave to me when I was little. It's not the only game I feel this way about. Combat 2, Vector Man, just to name a few, are games that I used to enjoy when I was young, but don't enjoy as much now. And they're the sort of games I like to give to my kids so they can enjoy it rather than myself. And I know a lot of you are probably out there like, well, Darkness, I'm older than you and I still like playing side-scrollers. Yeah, but you probably don't have kids yet. I may only be 23, and to a lot of you that may seem pretty young, but when you have a son, it changes your mindset. And let me tell you, as young as I physically am, I feel very old these days, and playing this game just reinstates that. Again, it's a wonderful game and I love it to death. I will never ever dislike this game and it will always be a very close game to my heart. But this is one of the games I'm going to give to my son when he gets older, so he can enjoy it like I did. And I hope that if you guys haven't played this game, that you'll at least give it a try. Because, trust me, it's a wonderful experience, and you're missing out if you haven't already played it. Till next time, this is Darkness, and I bid you all a fond farewell.